Ikeja Toastmasters Club is a club under Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International is a non-profit educational organization with a membership strength of more than 350,000 people in about 16,600 clubs in 143 countries across the continent. The purpose of all of this is for promoting communication, public speaking, and leadership. It was founded in the year 1924 by Ralph Smedley. A typical Toastmasters meeting, just like your 3-course meal, is divided into 3 segments. The first segment, like your appetizer, is where we get to do table topics. This is that segment where people get to speak without preparation. Impromptu speaking, if you like to put it that way. And the second segment, more like your main course dish. This is where we get to take all our prepared speeches for the meeting. And last but not the least segment, more like your dessert, is where we get to take evaluation for everything that must have transpired in the course of the meeting. Can you still hear me?
Yes, perfectly well.
Thank you. All right, people. Before we kickstart all of this, we have a team of able-bodied men and women that will run us through different roles, and to help us coordinate that segment, to introduce these role players to us is our general evaluator. Our general evaluator this morning is a trained auto technician, someone who is keen on self-development, is a lover of advanced politics and the science of strategy, is passionate about inspiring people and believes possibilities are boundless. He is the program quality director for Area 16. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me. Put your hands together for Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade. Hello, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you most kindly, the Toastmaster of the day. And the words of Socrates, the Greek philosopher, an unexamined life is a life that is not worth living. So in that connection, I will be examining today's meeting, thereby commending it and giving recommendations before the meeting ends. However, I won't be doing that alone. I will be doing it with my team of competent ends. The first member in my team is a grammarian. As we all know, language is a currency of communication. In line with this, our grammarian is an English doctor, Area District 94 champion of the evaluation context. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, make welcome the grammarian for today's meeting for the introduction of his role. You have the spotlight.
Mr. General Evaluator, thank you most graciously for the enchanting hospitality of your introductory remarks. It is set in tablets of stone that good grammar and proper pronunciation give us credibility, authority, and respectability as speakers. Consequently, my responsibilities as the grammarian are, first, I would listen for and highlight coruscatingly brilliant usages of the English language in the dimensions of grammatical structures, idiomatic expressions, and rhetorical devices. Secondly, I would listen for and point out usages that contravene the conventions of contemporary standard English communication. My final responsibility is to meticulously monitor the number of times the word of the day would be utilized over the course of the meeting protocol. Ladies and gentlemen, the word is an adjective, and it is correctly vocalized as scintillating. It simply means very clever, very interesting, very enjoyable. For instance, Toastmasters will deliver scintillating speeches today. I would encourage all of you to incorporate this word into the edifice of your sentence structures. I would provide a report during the evaluation portion of the meeting. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very kindly, the grammarian, for the scintillating explanation of your role. The second role player is the R counter. Fellow Toastmasters, who is an R counter? Let me introduce a fashion entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is passionate about learning and development. He loves motivating and see people around him smile. Who is this person? He is Toastmaster Aziz Okekbenru, our R counter for today. You have the spotlight.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good morning.
I'm happy to be here today. And as the R counter for today's meeting, my responsibility is to look out for any overused words or filler sounds used as a clutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections such as and, so, well, you know, and sounds may be something like which speakers use when they couldn't find a word to fill in when they are speaking. I will advise speakers to try as much as possible to avoid filler words while delivering speech. I'll be giving of how speakers have used these filler words. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, the R counter, for the explanation and description of your role. The next role player is the listening evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, who is a listening evaluator in the Toastmasters meeting? I welcome a graduate of human anatomy from Anambra. She is a blogger, a writer, and the founder of Beautiful Minds Inspirational Network. She won the top. She came third in the humorous speech contest just completed at the division level. Fellow Toastmasters, who is this listening evaluator? Make welcome Toastmaster Rose Amadi. You have the floor.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Please, am I audible?
Loud and clear.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Welcome to a scintillating morning. I am the listening evaluator for today's meeting, and my role for today is to look out for tidbits of information from the table topic speeches down to the prepared speeches for today, and test our knowledge of listening, because there's a saying that goes, he who listens well learns twice. So at the end of today's meeting, I would test our listening skills by asking questions from the table topics to the prepared speeches to know how far we've listened. Please do open your ear widely and get enough information today. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly for the scintillating explanation of your role as a listening evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, the final member of my team is an occupational health, safety, and environment management professional, a trainer, a graduate member of the Institution of Occupational Safety and Health. Fellow Toastmasters, he is the Sergeant at Arms of Ikeja Toastmasters Club. Make welcome Toastmaster Isaac Ogbo Adaye.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. General Evaluator. And thanks once more for that scintillating introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, it is said that time that is lost can never be regained. In that regard, I will this morning be serving as the timekeeper for this meeting. As the timekeeper, I'll ensure that at every speech, each speech is done within the allotted time. For table topic speeches are within 1 to 2 minutes. When it's 1 minute, I'll flash the green card just like this, as you can see on the shared screen. And when it is 1 minute, 30 seconds, I'll flash the yellow card like this. And when it is 2 minutes, I'll flash the green card like this. Please, can you confirm that you have seen all of the 3 time cards? Thank you very kindly. So for the table topic speeches, once it's 2 minutes and I flash the red card, it means your time is up and you have at the most 30 seconds to round off and relinquish the spotlight. For prepared speeches, the two prepared speeches we have for today, one is for 5 to 7 minutes. And for that particular speech, when it's 5 minutes, I'll flash the green card. When it's 6 minutes, I'll flash the yellow or amber card. And when it's 7 minutes, I'll flash the red card, meaning that you have 30 seconds to round off and relinquish the spotlight. And for the other speech, it is for 15 to 20 minutes. And for that speech, once it's 15 minutes, I'll flash the green card. When it's 19 minutes, I'll flash the yellow. And when it's 20 minutes exactly, I'll flash the red card, meaning that the speaker has 30 seconds to round off his or her speech and leave the virtual lecture. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow Toastmasters, let's ensure that we keep to time and also pay attention to the time card. I'd also advise that you pin me, that's the timekeepers, when you start speaking, so that when I start flashing the card, you know that I have started flashing the card. And for evaluators have 3 minutes to evaluate their speeches, and I'll also flash the card accordingly. Thank you very kindly. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
That was scintillating. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and the words of Ellen Keller, the American author. Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. It is in the spirit that I will be handing over to the Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Godwin Odu, you have the floor.
Wow, Toastmaster Olumide. People, if your hands are not too busy, can you please unmute your microphone and give all our role players and our general evaluator a resounding round of applause. Many thanks to you, Toastmaster Olumide, and other role players for the scintillating manner with which you've been able to explain your roles to us. Yes, I did mention earlier that the meeting, like your 3-course meal, will be divided into 3 segments. Now we want to start with the appetizer. Are we ready? Ready, people?
Ready.
Thank you. All right. Now is that time where some people run away, but I'll advise you not to run away. Whatever does not kill a man will make a man stronger. If you run into a Tony Elumelu today and you need to pitch your idea to him within 1 minute, what will you say to him? This session or this segment has been designed to put us on our feet to be able to explain our thoughts, our ideas in 2 minutes. It's part of the training, people. All right, and to help us with this segment is our general, I beg your pardon. To help us with this segment is our Vice President Education. He's been introduced before. I'll spare us his introduction. Time is no longer on our side. Please help me welcome our table topics master, Toastmaster Clarence Jumbo.
Thank you very kindly, the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Godwin Udu, for that scintillating and brief introduction. All right, jolly good morning to everyone. I will be serving as the table topics master for today's meeting. Like we all know as Toastmasters, every Toastmaster meeting is divided into 3 segments: the table topics, the prepared speeches, and then the evaluation segment. The table topics segment is an interesting segment where we are expected to speak off the cuff, to speak on our feet, and to deliver impromptu speeches. And why is that important? It is a training for every Toastmaster to build some levels of confidence, because you never can tell when you might be called upon to make a speech, maybe to say something in a forum. Maybe a staff is actually departing and then you are asked to say a few words. So it's that segment that helps us to build some level of confidence and build credibility as public speakers and leaders we are. And so I will be calling on some of our members who are on the call today, and I hope to receive some scintillating responses from our respondents to volunteer. So you might spare me. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Loud and
Can
clear,
you
Mr.
hear-
Vice President.
Yes, we can
Loud
hear you.
and clear. You are loud and clear.
All right. So I don't know if anyone would want to volunteer so that I could actually read out the first question, or you want me to go ahead and read out the first question and then choose someone to respond. I'm still waiting for volunteer. You can indicate.
The second option be palatable. Read
All
the
right.
question, please, and then someone can respond to it.
All right. Okay, the first question goes thus. If you could have your time over, what would you change about your life? The question again, if you could have your time over, what would you change about your life? Any volunteer? Or I have someone penned down already.
If you could have your life over, what will you change about your life? Fellow Toastmasters, guests on the call, time is life. Life itself is a risk. So what's the essence if you don't take risk? If I could change the time, I wouldn't change anything. I've enjoyed my life, even from childhood. Though They were plagued with difficulties, challenges, trying times. But you know what? What kept me going is the experience that I've gathered and the knowledge that I've gotten together, which has helped me in taking decisions. Imagine yourself, if you want to change anything, can you replay back your childhood that you have lost? But what do? You go ahead and enjoy the now. So, fellow Toastmasters, life is all about giving it the best that you can. Then knowing quite well that humanity happens to all of us. Are you giving out humanity to your fellow brothers and sisters? And that is what they will remember you for. Remember, life is good. Get the best out of it. And remember as well that live and let others remember you for the good deed you have done in their life. I have no regret. If I could change time, I wouldn't change anything. Thank you very much, Table Topic Master.
Wow, wow, wow. That was a beautiful and scintillating response from Wale Thompson. Please join me with a round of applause for Tian Wale Thompson. All right. And then the second question goes to us. If you won a trip to anywhere in the world, where would you go? The question again, if you won a trip to anywhere in the world, where would you go? Any volunteer? All right. I would like to call on TM Elizabeth Olowokere. TM Elizabeth Olowokere. Is she on call?
Yes, I'm on call. I'm actually a guest on this call. Good morning, Toastmaster Clarence.
Clarence. Beautiful.
Yeah.
You have the floor.
Thank you.
Can go ahead.
Okay, so what's the question again, please?
If you won a trip to anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Wow, that's actually quite an interesting question. Not something I've thought about in a while. Where would I go? Well, I'm not so sure I have the right answer for that right now. I'm not so sure I have the right answer. So I'll just skip that and allow someone else to answer so I have an idea what it is about. Yeah, thank you.
All right, let me take it up from there.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so very much.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. The question is, where will I like to go if I have the opportunity? Can I be heard?
Yes. If you won a trip to anywhere in the world, where would you like to go?
Thank you very kindly, the Table Topics Master. Thank you very kindly, the Table Topics Master, for that scintillating question. I will call it a scintillating question because I would love to go to Dubai.
Hello, Tian Josephine. Lost your sound. Hello, Tian Josephine. All right. It's like TM Josephine is having issues with her connection. All right, let me call on TM Ajani Ibrahim. to answer the question. If you want a trip to anywhere in the world, where would you go? TM Ajani Ibrahim.
Good morning, Native Topics Master.
Good morning. Early morning to you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. If I win a trip to anywhere, where would I like to go? Actually, there are so many places that I would love to go. For example, New York. I've heard so much about New York from watching TV and watching and listening to history about America. I've heard about New York being a place so lively that there is so many cultural points there, like the Broadway. One of my favorite Broadway shows is Hamilton, that was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And in that Broadway show, it highlights New York in a way that it made me want to go to New York. Apart from New York, Paris. I've heard so much about Paris that if I could pick a place to go, I could actually not think about two places before I say Paris, because Paris, for me, from what I've heard about history, is that it is the peak of Western civilization. So for that reason, I actually like Paris. I also like Dubai, but I think I'll go to Abu Dhabi ahead of Dubai. Abu Dhabi is the capital city of United Arab Emirates, and that is where the money is in the world. And of course, who doesn't want to make money? And of course, and apart from that, I would like to go to London too. London is like the most civilized city in the world. That is where the laws that we actually use in this country, that's where they come from. That is where the most influential culture in Nigeria right now, which is the Western civilization that we aspire to look up to, that is where it emanates from. So London, of course, and so many other places that, since I'm seeing the red card, I would not be able to really mention now. Thank you. It's back to you, the Toastmasters Master.
Wow. Thank you so very much, TM Ajani, for that scintillating response. All right. My very last question, because we'll be taking only 3 questions for this segment. My very last question will be, if you could talk to someone living or dead for 30 minutes, who would that be and why? If you could talk to someone living or dead for 30 minutes, who would that be and why? Any volunteer? Do I have a volunteer? All right. Let me call on Toastmaster.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. The table talking master. My name is
Toastmaster Saeed.
Saeed.
Oh, good to see you.
Same here. Thank you very kindly. I would like to take on the table topic question that you have just posed, which is if I would like to talk to anyone, either dead or alive, for 30 minutes, who would it be? It's a very scintillating question and very interesting to note. If I'm in a position to make such a comment or a request, I would like to talk to my dead father, who has passed away in the past couple of years, precisely 11 years ago. During his lifetime, he has been a very disciplinary man. He has taught us how to be self-disciplined right from our childhood. He has made us to understand that life in itself is a journey, and that for every journey that we undertake, we have to ensure that we don't lose track of whom we are. I could remember during my days in the university, most essentially when I'm returning back from the hostel, he kept on reminding me when he was alive by telling me that I should remember the son of whom I am. That saying keeps re-echoing over and over each time every day pass by when I live my life alone. For that reason, and for so many other purposes, during his lifetime, he has tried to put the family together as a one unit. However, after his demise, the family unit seems to be disintegrating. And then this has brought about a bit of crack in the family. So if I'm going to have the opportunity to speak with him, I would like to tell him all over again those very beautiful days that we shared together, and his funny way of calling me champion, whom he cherished to use during each and every available means he has to communicate with me. That I would love him to re-echo. And then again, I would love to remind him that if peradventure he could put the family unit back to order, I would also like that to happen. Thank you, Table Talking Master.
Thank you, TM Said, for that scintillating response. Let me appreciate and thank all our speakers, respondents, for their scintillating responses. Just to note, some few words from our respondents. Remember the son of who you are. Live and enjoy your life. I would love to visit United Kingdom, Abu Dhabi, and United States, etc., etc. Thank you very kindly. The Toastmaster of the day, we have come to the end of this segment and hand over the virtual lectern to the Toastmaster of the day, TM Godwin Odu.
Thank you, Toastmaster Clarence Jumbo, for that scintillating segment. Ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, can you please unmute your microphone and give all our speakers a resounding round of applause. Yes, those were well-delivered speeches. Thank you. Thank you. Now we will take our votes. We'll vote for the best of the three speakers. And before we do that, let's quickly check with our timekeeper. Mr. Timekeeper, are they all qualified to be voted for?
Mr. Toastmaster of the day, the first speaker, Wale Thomas, spent 1 minute 40 seconds, so he stands qualified. Toastmaster Adjani Brian spent 2 minutes 25 seconds, he's qualified. And Toastmaster Saheed spent 2 minutes 10 seconds, and he is also qualified. The other speakers couldn't complete their speeches, so I don't know. I believe we will not be voting for them.
Thank you, Mr. Timekeeper, for that wonderful report. We have three speakers to be voted for. First speaker, Toastmaster Wale Thomas. Our second speaker, Toastmaster Ajani Ibrahim. And last but not the least speaker, Toastmaster Saeed Folorunso. Those are the three people we will be voting for. Do we have the poll ready?
Poll ready, they can send the votes to the general evaluator.
Okay.
By typing directly to the general evaluator.
Okay. On a private chat, please cast your vote, send it to our general evaluator on a private chat. Thank you. We have just 1 minute to do that. 1 minute. Mr. General Evaluator, are the votes coming in?
Yes, the votes are coming in.
Thank you.
They're coming in thick and fast.
Okay, thanks for casting your votes. Thank you. Yes, while the session was ongoing, I'm referring to a table topic segment, somebody showed up from nowhere and turned our table topic segment into a tribute to his dad. Who does that? I'm just kidding. Toastmaster Saeed, please be warned. Yeah, it's good to see you anyway. Thank you for showing up and giving your dad a tribute. All right, people, we'll move on now to the next segment. But before we do that, I'd like us to go on a 5-minute networking break. Do we really have the time to do that? Do we have time for a 5-minute break?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback.
To that as well. Thank you, Tim Craig.
Thanks for that feedback. Thanks for that feedback. We'll move on swiftly now into the second segment of today's meeting. Are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
That's not loud enough, people. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Yes, we are ready.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Mr. TOD,
All right.
please, when is the evaluation of the table topics coming up?
Oh, thanks for reminding me of that. Yes, I think we should quickly take that. Let's quickly take that before we dive into the prepared speeches. Yes, we will quickly take that. Toastmaster Olumide, thanks for bringing that up. Without wasting time to evaluate our table topic segments and all the speakers, please help me welcome on board Toastmaster Edafe. Hello, Toastmaster Edafe. Over to you, please.
All right, thank you very much, Toastmaster Godwin. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Clarence, for those scintillating questions. We had the speakers. We had Wale. We had Josephine. We had Elizabeth. We had Ibrahim, and then we had Saeed. Those were the people that spoke, as far as I'm concerned. Scintillatingly speaking, they all did marvelously well as far as they opened their mouth to speak, because that is the first step to making any great speech. Generally speaking, all the speakers, the three of the speakers who met the time limit actually had an introduction, they had the body, and then they had conclusion aspect of their speech, which was very, very good. That's a great thing to do for any speech. Toastmaster Wale, you are a born speaker, if I must put it that way. Your speech, we talked about what you are going to do different, but what you are going to do if you get back to life again and stuff like that. You said you're not going to do anything. You were very direct, specific on what you intended to do. There was a part where you mentioned, you talked about life was plagued with difficulties. Life was plagued with challenges. Your expression at that point showed remorse. Things were down. So that's also a very good aspect to bring into any speech. That's the vocal variety. Toastmaster Josephine, you were called on to speak on where you would like to go, and you mentioned the place. I mean, you said you didn't really know, you've not really thought about it, so you couldn't make any further remark. For me, it was a good thing you mentioned that you didn't really have much to say about that. But at the same time, you can give people content on what to talk about or what to listen to. If I were you, at that point, I would divert the topic to something else that I'm good at. For example, where would I like to be?
Sorry for interjecting. That was
Elizabeth. That was Elizabeth, right?
Evaluator. Sorry for interjecting. That was actually Elizabeth, really.
Elizabeth, sorry. I beg your pardon.
All right,
that
yes, yes. Just to correct.
Yes, so I would say I don't really have much to say on this topic, but I would love to talk about football, or I would love to talk about fashion. And then you start giving content in that direction. So that way your speech is more elaborate. The same thing also applies. It was a network that affected Josephine. Ibrahim, the way you introduced, you were very specific about where you were going to be, where you would like to go. You see, the question was not name one particular place, which really means that you understood the topic very well. You mentioned several places that you would love to be, and then you gave us content how of each of those places. You talked about an area where civilization began and all of that. So that was content enough for your listeners to think about. Then finally, we had Toastmaster Said. Toastmaster Said, sorry about the loss of your dad 11 years ago. I love the fact that you really delved into talking about your dad, giving us the background on the teachings he had given to you. I love the flow of your voice. It was very fluid. I loved your pacing. So I think all the speakers, in summary, did well. And I just think they should keep it up and they should keep speaking. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Daffy, the Toastmaster of the day and not the general evaluator. Thank you. Thank you, people. I think Toastmaster Daffy deserves a thunderous round of applause for that scintillating evaluation. All right, people, it's time for us to serve one of our meals, the main dish. Are we ready?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ready.
I'd like us to fasten our seatbelts. We are about to go on a journey. Our first speaker this morning is dialing in all the way from Canada. There's something interesting about her. She's our club coach. Yes. Our club coach will be delivering a speech this morning. She is a passionate and resilient lady who live life as possible as possible. I'll take that again. She likes to live life as possible as possible. She loves to read. I beg your pardon?
I said as positively as possible.
Oh, that was what I saw. So I thought that was deliberate. All right, thank you for correcting that. She likes to read, listen to cool music, and also street music as well. This morning, she will be delivering an exciting speech, and to evaluate her, I will be her evaluator. Let me quickly read the purpose of our speech. The purpose of our speech is for her to develop and practice a personal strategy for building connections through networking. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Toastmaster Jane.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters and I guess I'm super excited to be in today's scintillating meeting. And the title of my speech today is The Importance of Networking. According to Mitchell Jenning, he says networking is not about connecting, but it's about connecting with people. It's not about connecting. It's not just about connecting. It's about connecting with people, people with ideas and people with opportunities. A recent survey by LinkedIn, one of the top professional platform, says that over 70% of jobs today are gotten via referrals. Hence, networking is very key. These days, a lot of employers will prefer employees who can refer one of their connectee to a job role, because they believe that within their network of reach, they're able to identify people who fit for that kind of role as well. Hence, that's the reason why we need to develop our networking skills. Fellow Toastmasters, I guess, what is networking? Networking is connecting with people to build your professional, your business relationships, and also to gather information. And why is networking so important today in today's world we are? First, networking increases your professional support. For those who are looking to improve on their professional skills, to get better on their roles, try networking. With networking, you're able to develop yourself and see what other people are doing in terms of in your professional space, and see how you could get better and also hone some skills to make you relevant in your professional life. Secondly, networking helps your potential to grow. So when you network, you're able to see what other people are doing, and also see how you can also get better. Take, for instance, you try to transit into a tech role, and you don't have the right skills yet to transit into a tech role. And you join into a networking group, and you see what other people are doing that are currently in the tech role, and you see how you could grow and develop 1 or 2 skills, and also learn 1 or 2 competencies from there. So through networking, you can able to grow, expand your reach, learn 1 or 2 skills, and get better. Third point is enhance idea sharing capability, I beg your pardon. When you're networking, it helps you to develop how the idea of learning how to talk, like learning how to get along with small talks as well. For instance, I'm trying to engage with Toastmaster Clarence. I learned 1 or 2 things from him because probably you'll be sharing some ideas that I don't even know about or not privy to know about. Take, for instance, maybe it's talking about politics, talking about finances, talking about educational goals. From that aspect, I learned from him as well. That also helped to improve my own learning skills, and also helps to increase my own world of knowledge as well, because I'm also learning from him and he's also learning from me as well. That's what networking does to you when you're fully involved in networking. And also, fellow Toastmasters, I guess, networking is really beyond handshaking and exchanging of call cards. It's really involved genuinely reaching out to people, adding value to one another. The fourth point is as well, networking helps to foster long-term relationship. When you have some group of people you're networking with as well, or you have an association you are networking as well, you involve in networking, it helps you to develop long-lasting relationship, because at a point we need one another. So with that, you add value to one another, and you also you create value to one another. The final point is it also helps to improve your self-confidence, because you're networking. You're also improving yourself. You're also increasing your wealth of knowledge, and also involved in the art of small talks as well. You gain confidence. You're able to speak well. You're able to interact with people, and you were able to by so doing, that's improve your confidence level, because you can interact with anybody as well. Fellow Toastmasters, I guess, I know a lot of people will be in this forum will be asking today, how do I start networking? I'm a little shy, I'm an introvert. How do I start networking? Networking today's world is a soft skill that we need today. And with that can take you from where you want to be and to where you intend to be in the future. The following steps will help you to start networking. 1, begin within your reach. Start within your reach. Start with your fellow Toastmaster by attending Toastmaster meeting in this forum as well. Reach out to people. Network, reach out with them as well. From there, you're able to know things that Toastmaster Sahid know that you don't even know as well. There's some pool of information that he knows that you might don't even know as well. Start within your reach. Start with your circle of influence, your colleagues, your fellow Toastmasters, your Toastmasters club, your association, and even within your family circle as well. So start to your reach. The second one is networking in person as well. You need to also learn to network in person, and all these attend conferences. So most conferences these days are done virtually due to the pandemic. So attend conferences so you can attend in person and in virtual as well. From there, you meet people, you genuinely reach out to people, you exchange call cards, and also you get to know what they do, and they also get to know what you do as well. The fourth one is also join professional clubs, associations, and also join clubs like Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a way for you to help, is a platform that can also help to improve your networking skills as well. The fifth point will be also join online networking like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also one of the great networking platforms where you can also network, meet people, build professional career, and also your business career as well. Fellow Toastmasters, I guess, there are various tips that could also help you to enhance your networking skills. Apart from you want to start networking skills, there are some skills that can actually help you hone your skills, your networking skills to the highest maximum. First skill is one, improve your public speaking skills. you need to join a club like Toastmasters. Speak regularly. From there, you also help. That can also help to eradicate barriers of being shy or not able to talk to people or not able to speak confidently. Second is about follow through and follow up. Networking is about genuinely reaching out to people as well. You're reaching out to people within your reach, genuinely reach out to them and see how you can add value to them as well. The third one is learn the art of small talks. By so doing, you can also volunteer for taking table topic speaking, so you can also master the art of small talks and impromptu speeches as well. And fourth speech, the final point is give before you take as well. You need to, for you to be able to improve your networking skills, you should be able to add value to people as well. You add value to people, people want to reach out to you, people want to learn from you, people want to be close to you, and people want to genuinely reach out to you and you're able to get back in return. Finally, Toastmaster, I'll leave you with this quote by Dennis Watley, which says, if you are not networking, you are not working. Thank you. Toastmaster. The Toastmaster, thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jane, for that scintillating delivery. That was awesome. People, if your hands are not too busy, can you please unmute yourself and show some love? Yes. If you think that's the end, wait for it. There are more speakers to come. Our next speaker this morning is Toastmaster Craig. And to evaluate Toastmaster Craig is Toastmaster Salif Mohammed. Toastmaster Salif, can you please tell us the objective of Toastmaster Craig's speech?
Thank you very kindly, Mr. TMOD. Toastmaster Craig, please, are you on call?
Toastmaster Salif Mohammed, rest assured that I am here, even though I have excruciating difficulty switching on my video at the moment. Back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very kindly. Toastmaster Craig will be speaking from the presentation mastery path, level 4, elective project, question and answer session. The speech subject is a speaker's toolbox. The speech duration is 15 to 20 minutes. Here are your speech objectives. The purpose of your speech is for you to learn about and practice facilitating a question and answer session. The purpose of your speech is for you to practice delivering an informative speech and running a well-organized question and answer session. You are responsible for managing time, so there is adequate opportunity for both. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have no doubt in my mind that we are in for a scintillating treat in this session. The English doctor, please show us your scintillating prowess. Over to you, Mr. TMOD.
Thank you most graciously, Toastmaster Salif, for telling us your purpose of Toastmaster Craig's speech. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know Toastmaster Craig, he is an English doctor, speaking coach, and elocution teacher. He is the Vice President Education of Merit Toastmasters Club and a member of MPW Toastmasters Club, New York. Remarkably, he is the 2021 District Speech Evaluation Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I present to you Toastmaster Craig Esode. Hello, Toastmaster Craig, come break your leg.
Fellow Toastmasters, friends and guests, in 1897, Sir Winston Churchill, a masterful orator, and the famous British Prime Minister known to human history, wrote an article titled The Scaffolding of Rhetoric, where he observed with unparalleled eloquence that of all the talents bestowed upon men, none is so precious as the gift of oratory. He who enjoys it wields a power more durable than that of a great king. Ladies and gents, indispensable to the gift of oratory is what I'd like to describe as a speaker's toolbox or a speaker's vocabulary. At the moment, I am struggling to switch on my video. I would keep on trying. Nevertheless, I would be unflustered enough to continue with my presentation or presentation. Fellow Toastmasters friends and guests, you would be enthralled to recognize that at the end of this speech presentation, you would be able to ask me questions or possibly share your insights. Vocabulary in the context of this oration refers to words that you are familiar with as a speaker. As a consequence, according to the Oxford Dictionary of Collocation, your vocabulary can be described as big, large, extensive, and even rich. Alternatively, your vocabulary can be conceptualized as poor, restricted, limited, impoverished, small. Ladies and gents, when your vocabulary is extensive, do you know the benefits that can accrue to you as a speaker? In point of fact, when your vocabulary is extensive, you are able to be more explicit when you speak. When your vocabulary is extensive, you are able to say exactly what you mean. When the vocabulary is extensive, it creates an aura of intelligence around you. When the vocabulary is extensive, it engenders respectability for your prowess or your intelligence or your charisma as a speaker. There are a plethora of benefits that are attached to developing a wide or rich or large vocabulary as a speaker or communicator. Fellow Toastmasters friends and guests, are you aware that the English language has the largest vocabulary of any language on earth? Matter of factly, a few years ago, we carried out a piece of research, and the research unraveled something astonishingly brilliant. If you'd like to hear the result of that research, could you please raise your hand or give me the emoji of a raised hand? Thank you most graciously for that. Well, fellow Toastmaster friends and guests, we were able to discover to our astonishment that the English language has a whopping 1 million words in its lexical architecture of vocabulary bank. How many of these words are you familiar with as a speaker? Ladies and gents, permit me to enlighten you that the vocabulary of English has two broad categorizations. In other words, as a speaker, you carry around two types of vocabulary. Right. Ladies and gents, as a speaker, you carry around two types of vocabulary. I would like to share my screen and acquaint you with the vocabulary that you carry around as a speaker. The first is the passive vocabulary, otherwise known in the field of semantic instruction as the receptive vocabulary. This type of vocabulary is useful when you are reading or listening. Your passive vocabulary is comprised of words or lexical items that you are familiar with, but you don't use them in your own communication. For example, I am aware of the word poignance. I am similarly aware of the word quagmire, but I don't use these words when I have scintillating conversations or chinwag with people. These words are engraved on my passive vocabulary. In contradistinction to that, there is something known as the active or expressive vocabulary. What is the active vocabulary? Well, to respond straightforwardly to that question, your active vocabulary consists of words that you are familiar with and you are conscientious enough to utilize these words in your own communication. This means that these words, or the words in your active vocabulary, in practical terms, are words that your brain easily and effortlessly supply when you're speaking. For example, I have been using words that are inherent in my active vocabulary since I commenced this speech presentation, and if you're an American audience, presentation. Fellow Toastmasters, friends and guests. Of late, Craig's Communications Clinic embarked on a rigorous research. The impassioned rationale behind this research undertaking was to discover how many words you can have in your vocabulary to be conceptualized or considered to be an engaging, a gripping speaker. And do you know what we discovered? Fellow Toastmasters, friends and guests, we were able to unravel the fact that on the authority of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR, which was established by the Council of Europe in 2001, for you to be considered to be a scintillating, a gripping, and engaging speaker, you ought to have 5,000 words in your active vocabulary and 10,000 words in your passive vocabulary. Think about that. At this juncture, allow me to share with you a few tips that can enable you to take your vocabulary to the next height of communicative distinction. First, I would love us to embark on a reconstruction of our mindset. Think of your vocabulary as a toolbox where you have the spanners, the pliers, the saw, the hammers, and whatnot. The more tools you have in your toolbox, the better you are able to convey your ideas with clockwork efficiency or military precision. I am impelled to share with you that to widen the horizons of your vocabulary infrastructure or of your toolbox. One, you have to be a voracious reader. Reading exposes you to words in contexts. What should you read about? Read about an area that enthralls you. For example, cooking, sports, entertainment, politics, movies or films. Read about areas that enthralls you and pay attention to new words or words that are unfamiliar with your vocabulary repository. Secondly, pay attention to something known as derivational morphology. This means that as a speaker, you've got to pay attention to the internal structure of words. For example, exquisite. That's an adjective. Ask yourself, has this word got cousins, nephews, or nephews? Has it got grandparents? Exquisite, exquisitely, adverb. Exquisiteness, noun. Scintillating, for instance, is a loan word in the context of the meaning that I supplied today, which is cleverly brilliant or magnificently exciting. How about beautiful, beautifully, beautify, beautician, beaut? Be concerned about the internal structure of words if you want to expand the horizons of your vocabulary, ladies and gentlemen. The final tip I'd like to share with you now is when you learn a new word, use it. It has been said that words are like names. We forget them the way we forget names. As a result of that, our vocabulary requires constant fertilizing. Otherwise, it is going to perish. A slogan we share when we teach children is, use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Fellow Toastmasters, friends, and our scintillating guest, to recap, to elevate your vocabulary, 1, be a voracious reader. 2, pay attention to derivational morphology or the internal structure of words. And last but not least, use it or lose it. Sir Winston Churchill in 1897 observed eloquently, of all the talents bestowed upon men, none is so precious as the gift of oratory. He who enjoys it wields a power more durable than that of a great king. Your vocabulary is an indispensable aspect of your gift of the gab as a speaker. Endeavor to develop it. At this juncture, I will take a few questions before I relinquish control to the Toastmaster of the day. If you have any question, all you have to do is to raise your hand. I will call your name and give you the opportunity to ask your question or make a comment. A question that people commonly ask me is vocabulary development about using complicated words? Definitely not. When it comes to vocabulary development research, we've discovered that one size does not fit all. The way you would communicate or the words you would utilize when communicating with a bunch of nursery school pupils would not be the same words you're going to utilize when you're communicating with a group of undergraduates or a pantheon of professors. You have to be mindful of your audience members. when you are deploying words to communicate your ideas. Right, if you have any questions to ask me, please raise your hand. Ibrahim, please go ahead and ask a question.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Greg, for that scintillating speech. I would have used other words, but I don't really have your wealth of vocabulary. So this is my question here. You mentioned that Craig's Communication conducted a rigorous research that evaluated the amount of words in the active vocabulary to be 5,000 words and the amount of words in passive vocabulary for any functional speaker to be 10,000 words. I'm just a little bit curious, and I would like to know the methodology that you used in the research to arrive at that at those figures. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly. You are concerned about the research finding 5,000 words in the active vocabulary and 10,000 words in the passive vocabulary. The information is available on the website of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. As I mentioned in my speech presentation, the CEFR was established in 2001 by the Council of Europe. I hope I have answered your question copacetically, Ajani Ibrahim.
Yeah, thank you very much. Question well answered. Thank you.
All right, many thanks for that. Toastmaster Clarence, I'd like to listen to we would like to listen to your question.
All right, thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Greg. That was a scintillating presentation, I must confess. Now, in your presentation, you talked about, I would like you to throw more light on what you said. You said there are wide plethora of benefits that are attached to having an extensive or large reservoir of vocabulary. I'd like you to throw more light on this particular statement.
All right, thank you, most graciously. You are concerned about the benefits of having or developing an extensive or rich vocabulary as a speaker. From 2010 to 2013, I interviewed professors in the myriad universities across Nigeria. And one professor would always stand out at the University of Lagos, distinguished Professor Akin Oyebode, a professor of international law and jurisprudence. He was really adept at using words to communicate his ideas because he is a speaker with an extensive vocabulary. When you have an extensive vocabulary, it creates an aura of intelligence around you. It creates an aura of authority around you. It gives you confidence. You are able to be more explicit. You are able to be expressive. Clarence, have I answered your question satisfactorily?
Absolutely, yes. The English doctor.
All right, thank you very kindly for that. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been great, it has been fun, but my time here is done. I'd like to leave you with the words of Anton Chekhov, one of the greatest writers in the world, who said that knowledge is of no value unless you put it into practice. Take that step to develop your vocabulary today. Back to you, our scintillating Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, Toastmaster Craig. Think of your vocabulary as a toolbox. Use it or lose it. That was a scintillating and well-delivered speech by our one and only English doctor, Toastmaster Craig Esode. And if you believe that, was a great speech, can you please unmute your microphone now and give him a resounding round of applause? Okay, that was the last speech for today's meeting. Yes, I did say earlier that in a typical Toastmasters meeting, we have 3 segments: the table topics section, table topic segment, I beg your pardon, the prepared speech, and the evaluation segment. We will now dive into the evaluation segment. Feedback, they say, is a breakfast of champions. I will do that very swiftly now by inviting our general evaluator, Toastmaster, Olumide Ajibade.
Thank you very kindly, the Toastmaster of the day. That was a wonderful session. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and the words of the American author, a politician named Les Brown, we can see the beauty of the picture when you are in the frame. It is in connection with this, I will be delving straight to the evaluation portion of today's meeting. But before that, I would love to call on the speech evaluators. The first speech was delivered by Toastmaster Jane, and the first speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Godwin Udu. Toastmaster Godwin Udu, please. Can we have the speech evaluation of the first speaker?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, for bringing me back to do this. Yes, I was privileged to evaluate our club coach, Toastmaster Jane, and she delivered a speech that has to do with networking. The purpose of the speech was for her to tell us the importance or the benefit of networking. Toastmaster Jane, your speech was a scintillating one, well delivered. I enjoyed every bit of it. You started with a lot of excitement. I could see the vibe. Your hand gesture was apt. Everything worked in sync. You were able to break down the importance of networking for us. It was well structured and easy to understand. You told us about the importance of network, the benefits. You talked about self-confidence. It helps one to be able to engage in small talk. And there was something that you said that struck a chord in me, that networking goes beyond handshake. I really like that. And you also talked about other things that one can do to improve one's networking skill, like attending events, joining professional clubs, going on LinkedIn to network with people, and speaking regularly. All of these were some of those things I was able to pick from the speech you delivered. Your speech was a good one, well delivered. But in my opinion, there's just one thing, there's just one area I'd like you to try and look into the next time you want to do this again. And then it's just one. I would like you to please slow down a bit. Your speech was very fast. Just find a way of taking a deliberate pause so that the audience will be able to digest what you're trying to say. At some point, it was very fast for me to keep up with. I believe so strongly that if you're able to maybe bring it down a bit, take it slowly, take a deliberate pause, it will go a long way in helping with the audience to be able to digest and take note of some of those things, some of those good things you were trying to say. And your conclusion was a very powerful one. It swept me off my feet. And you wrapped up by saying that if you are not networking, you are not working. I thought that was a scintillating one. Thank you for that delivery, Toastmaster Jane. And I look forward to hearing you deliver more of these speeches. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Godwin. The second evaluator is the immediate past president of Lighthouse Prestige Toastmasters Club. He's area 16 director, fellow Toastmasters. He's a public speaking and influence coach. And he helps people find their voice. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, make welcome Toastmaster Salif Mohammed for the evaluation of the speech of Toastmaster Craig. Toastmaster Salif, you have the spotlight.
Thank you very kindly, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmaster Craig, are you on? Is he on? Toastmaster Craig.
Mr. Salif, I am waving you delightfully.
Thank you. You delivered a scintillating and informative speech. You took us down memory lane. As the English doctor that you are, your use of the English language is scintillating and epic. I loved your check-ins on your audience with your questions like, are you aware? Do you know what we discovered? Also, your eliciting the audience to respond to your question was quite engaging. Thank you. I learned from your informative speech terms like active vocabulary, passive vocabulary, active, and the rest. I liked your confidence displayed, especially in your decision to pause and take a sip of liquid from your mug. It shows that you're having the fun of your life. As an expert that you are, you ended powerfully with a recap. I love your quote from Winston Churchill. It brought the entire speech to one point for all of us, your audience. In the Q&A session, it was clear that you had it planned strategically. You moderated in such a way that you asked the audience to raise their hands and you would call them one after the other to ask their question. When the questions were asked, you rephrase to confirm your understanding, and after answering them, you check again with the respondent to confirm you have answered the question. One other important thing that you did, and I give you credence for it, is that in the end, after your Q&A, you took time to wrap up so we could leave with the memory of your message. Well done. What could you have done better? I may be wrong, but I thought you didn't explain CFR first when you were giving your speech until you were asked. In the future, if I am right, in the future, try to explain whatever vocabulary you use. Also, because you are an elocution teacher, you were stressing some of the words you were using. And for you, you were enjoying it, but for us, it wasn't flowing as such because it was like a training session. Next time, you could try not to stress it that much so that we would enjoy your speech. In all, I must tell you, you know your onions. Over to you, the general evaluator.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Salif Mohammed. That was a scintillating session of evaluation. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I'll now start bringing on board my team of role players. And the first person I will be introducing is the timer. Timer, how did our speakers fare as regards their speech presentation? Toastmaster Isaac, over to you.
Thank you very kindly, Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade, for that scintillating reintroduction. Our speakers, Toastmaster Jane, spent 6 minutes, 49 seconds, and she was expected to spend 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Craig spent exactly 19 minutes. And for our evaluators, Toastmaster Godwin spent 2 minutes, 50 seconds, while Toastmaster Salif spent 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Thank you very kindly. Back to you, the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Isaac, for the detailed reports. Now, it is time for the R counter. As we all know, he introduced his role before we came on board, and he told you we will be back to give reports and to unleash those that broke the rules. Fellow Toastmasters, make welcome Toastmaster Aziz Okigbenru for his report.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Our counter report shows that intending Toastmaster Elizabeth make use of the filler sound 3 times, while Toastmaster Jane use the filler sound as well twice, and Toastmaster Ajani Ibrahim make use of the filler sound 7 times, which shows that he is the winner of the R counter of the filler words today. Ladies and gentlemen, why do we have an R counter in our meeting? It is to evaluate ourselves, get feedback to improve ourselves. Too many filler words disengage your audience as the flow and tone of your speech gets disturbed. Ladies and gentlemen, normally when speaking, our speech should flow smoothly like butter and bread. Let's keep learning, and trust me, the more we learn, the more we avoid all these filler words, the more we reduce it, the more we get better. I look forward to see more improvement in our next speeches. Thank you, the General Evaluator.
Thank you very kindly, the R counter. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, have you been listening? Have you been paying attention to every speaker that I've raised the spotlights? We will find out as I bring aboard the listening evaluator for our reports. Toastmaster Rose Amadi, you have the spotlight.
Beautiful afternoon to everyone. I don't know if we're still if it's still morning or afternoon. Okay, few minutes to afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, so we listened to various speakers from the table topics to the prepared speeches. And like I said, he who listens well learns twice. So I'm going to be testing our listening skills. Okay, from the table topics, one of the speakers said, life is good, get the best of it and live it.
Okay. You have 3 questions.
Okay. Then we also have a speaker that said, okay, mention the 4 places Toastmaster Ajani said he would love to go to. Who can mention that? Mention 4 places.
London, Dubai.
New York.
Okay.
Paris. You mentioned New York twice.
Okay.
You mentioned New York twice.
Yes. Then the last but not the least, the last speaker said, there are dash million words in the English vocabulary. How many did you mention?
1 million.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very kindly. I can see we all listened very actively. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly, the listening evaluator. As we all know, words are the currency of communication. The currency of today's meeting is in someone's end, and the person is a grammarian for today. Toastmaster Craig, come dish out the currency. We want to hear your reports. Over to you.
The General Evaluator, I am pleased as sponge to inform you that today culminated in a scintillating matrix of linguistic gymnastics. As regards the word of the day, the following speakers utilized it. Jane used it once, Idafe once, Saheed once, Salif 4 times, Josephine twice, Isaac once, Rosemary once, Olumide Ajibade twice. Godwin
I
utilized
beg
the
your pardon,
whopping
Craig.
5 times.
Go ahead, please.
Craig, I beg your pardon. I used it twice.
Can I carry on? There was an interruption from Idafe. Can I move on, please?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. You have the floor, English doctor.
Dafe, next time, please, I would appreciate if you can raise your hand. I would appreciate that.
All right.
Right, Godwin utilized the word 5 times, and Clarence utilized it 5 times as well. Well done to all the speakers who utilized the word of the day. In regard to the brilliant use of the language, first I'd like to commend Salif when he used the word of the day, scintillating, as an adjective to describe treat. He said scintillating treat. That's magnificent English. Similarly, I'd like to commend Jane when she said as positively as possible. This is a rhetorical device known as alliteration. More specifically, it's a type of alliteration known as non-immediate juxtaposition. Why? Positively as possible, there is the as separating the adverb positively from the adjective possible. That's why it is a non-immediate juxtaposition. I'd like to commend Godwin, the Toastmaster of the day, for his use of the adjective thunderous as a descriptor to deploy applause. When he said thunderous applause, in my view, that is exquisite English. A few areas of improvements. One is one speaker said feedbacks. Feedbacks in grammatical English is an uncountable noun. It is therefore iconoclastic to pluralize it with the plural markerets. Get feedback or some feedback, not feedbacks. Secondly, one speaker said, struck a chord in me. I would like to think that the speaker wanted to say, struck a chord with me. That is a correct preposition to use in the context of this beautifully scintillating expression. I realized that once one particular speaker struggled with the correct pronunciation of the verb develop. It is not develop, it is develop, develop, develop. Back to commendations, I'd like to appreciate Sahid when he said, the family unit seems to be disintegrating. His use of the word disintegrating in this context, in my view, is intellectually stimulating and culminated in dazzling English. And last but not least, I'd like to commend all of the speakers once more who utilized the word of the day. Well done to all of you, and back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very kindly, the grammarian. Fellow Toastmasters, we had a wonderful session of today's meeting, starting from the presidential speech. It was wonderful. The Toastmaster of the day was hands-on. The punctuality of the key members is commendable. I love the reading during the table topic segments. I love the reading of questions before calling out the table topics respondents. I love doing table topics evaluation, how the table topic speaker recognized those that came on board and the network didn't permit them to go ahead with responding to their questions. I love the fact that he recognized them during the evaluation portion. The prepared speech for today were great. They were value for money if you're paying for it. They were wonderful speeches. I love the evaluators for the prepared speech too. They gave feedback that is relatable to everyone, that will serve as a pair of shoes to the speakers. It was a wonderful time. However, These are my recommendations. The presidential speech was great. Even when the speaker didn't know he was called on, he came on board later. He gave a wonderful presidential speech, but I felt it is possible to lose your audience. It took the speech, I think it took so much time. A presidential speech could be reduced, and judging by we are running behind time, brevity, a short speech will be okay. Not until everything is exhausted. I'll suggest that for subsequent meeting. Some of the table topics respondents did not turn on their videos, particularly those that had network issues. I noticed some speakers didn't get any recommendation during the table topics segment, even if it's just one. There is always a recommend, even if the recommendation is continue delivering speeches. Everyone that gives a speech during Toastmasters is usually looking forward to an area to improve, an area of self-improvement. I also noticed that the agenda of the meeting was not followed religiously. An agenda was sent before this meeting commenced. I will suggest we study it very well. That way, it won't disrupt the sequencing of our programming for the meeting. Also, I love the speech from Toastmaster Jane, networking. In fact, it is what we need in this present day world. We need more of networking with people, speaking to people, to attain greater heights, to bring about harmony, synergy between individuals. I think this speech, this great speech, will go a notch higher if we had a slide presentation. There are so many points I want to go with, but because there is no slide for me to follow through, I couldn't put, I will suggest that a slide is available for this next one, but it was a great speech that I would still love to listen to if there's a recorded version. I will suggest that the video of those displaying a video using a slide could as well do it before the meeting commences. That way, there won't be a network glitch or a disruption of the multimedias in the course of the meeting. That way, we can actually get the value from the beginning to the end. I had unmute microphones, which was good to commend speakers. I would love the host to also use the mute all button after everyone has unmuted, because many forget to mute back after unmuting to commend a speaker. Also, in the course of the meeting, there are many interjections. I will suggest you use the chat box. When we use the chat box, the person in question can go to the chat box and make amends. Interjecting can disrupt the flow of the meeting, and we have guests from everywhere in the world. It was a wonderful meeting. The punctuality of the key members was top-notch. I love the reading of the question during the table topics. The evaluators for today's speech were wonderful. It was a great one. It was fun. Fellow Toastmasters, this is the detailed reports of my team and I for today's meeting. It has been fun. It has been great. But my job is done. Over to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade and team for a scintillatingly well-delivered segment. Yes, the word of the day is still counting, and Mr. Grammarian, you can help me record it for next meeting. Help me record it in advance. Thank you. All right, people, we are gradually coming to the end of today's meeting. I want to believe that it's been a time well spent. I've learned so many new things. I've had fun. And I want to believe you also, you've been able to learn something, unlearn something, and even relearn something. My time here is done as a Toastmaster of the day. It's been a privilege serving in this capacity. And as I go, I like to leave us all in the hands of Mother Teresa. She said,
votes. I sent you the table topics votes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. I will quickly do the announcement now. Toastmaster Olumide, please, what platform did you send it to? Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it. Yes, the result of the vote just arrived now. We have a winner for the table topic segment. Are we ready? If you are ready for the winner of that segment, please help me roll the drum. Roll the drum. And our winner is Toastmaster Saeed Folorunsho. Please unmute your microphone and give him a resounding round of applause. Thank you, Toastmaster Saeed. You successfully turned our table topic segment into a tribute to your dad. Well done. Next time, we'll charge you for that. Okay, people. Yes, as I was saying earlier, my role here is done, and I want to leave us all in the hands of Mother Teresa. There are so many great people out there, and if you can't find one, go be one. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. President. By proxy, Toastmaster Edafe. Over to you, please. Toastmaster Edafe, are you still here? If Toastmaster Edafe is not here, I will hand over to Toastmaster Clarence Jumbo.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very kindly, the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Godwin Odu. Thank you for that scintillating mastery of the meeting today, for actually coordinating the meeting in a very professional manner. You will agree with me that today's meeting has been wonderful, has been enthralling and exciting. I had fun. Scintillating speeches and evaluations were delivered today. I'd like to congratulate everybody and thank you most kindly for joining the call today. Let me find out before we close the meeting for today. Do we have any first timer, anyone joining us for the very first time or joining Ikeja Toastmasters Club meeting for the very first time? Please, can you indicate by raising up your hand? We would like to meet with you. We would like to meet you. All right, I'm seeing intending, I don't know, maybe intending Toastmaster Henrietta. Please, can we meet you? So you have the floor, or and Toastmaster Elizabeth. Okay, intending Toastmaster Henrietta, please can we meet you? You have the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Henrietta, and this is my first time participating, or rather joining your meeting.
Right. So how did you get to know about Ikeja Toastmasters, and what is your assessment of today's meeting?
Okay, so I've been wanting to join a Toastmaster meeting for a while. So I went online to see which is closer to me, and I found out it was Ikeja, right? As I speak now, I am currently at your venue. I'd called someone and she told me you'll be having a meeting today. So when I got here, no one was here actually. So I had to call, and then she told me it was virtually and sent me the link. So I joined.
Oh, sorry about that. Today we're having a virtual meeting. Last week we had an on-site meeting. Sorry about that. But good thing, that shows your commitment and your intention or desire to improve your public speaking skills. Thank you, Henrietta. Thank you so very much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Let us hear from Elizabeth Olowokere. So tell us who you are, how you got to know about Ikeja Toastmasters Club, and your impression about today's meeting.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Olowokere, and yeah, I got to know about Toastmasters from a friend of mine. We are public personal development enthusiasts and all that good stuff. So in my bid to improve my communication skill and improve my network, right? So my friend suggested that I look through Toastmasters and all that good stuff. So I had to search, and then I saw that Ikeja Toastmasters is close by, and that's why I put a call through to the number I saw online. And then the link was sent to me because it's going to be, excuse me, please. So it's going to be a virtual meeting, hence why I'm here now. And of course, well, being on this meeting was actually quite insightful. Let me use the word of the day, scintillating. It's a scintillating experience for me, right? So it's something I look forward to going forward. So yeah, thank you very kindly for having me.
All right, thank you so very kindly. Elizabeth Olowokere. I don't know whether to call you a Toastmaster because you actually sounded like one. All right, thank you for today's meeting. Our next meeting will be the second week. It's going to be an on-site meeting, the second week of March, which is precisely on the 12th of March, next month. The 12th of March will be an on-site meeting at our venue, Lasuth, the medical school hostel. We use one of the halls there for our meeting. So we'll love to see you attend our physical meeting. So in the absence of any...
Just Pastor Clarence, we still have about 2 more people.
Oh. Okay, I didn't get that. So who else really?
I see Chisomekwe, I see Mimi, I see Cool.
Okay. Okay, let's hear from Chisom. Okay. I see. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
What about
okay.
the guests? How do they share their contact so that they can be on the guests' WhatsApp?
Okay. So I would like you to share your telephone contact on the general chat box. Our able TM Rosemary will be able to get your contacts, and then we'll be reaching out.
Clarence, why don't they send their numbers to you privately or to TM Rose privately instead of the general chat room? Just my thought.
Okay, if you can send it privately to TM Clarence, I will be able to receive it, or TM Rosemary Amadi, she will be able to receive it also. That is, I'm talking to Elizabeth, sorry, to Elizabeth and Henrietta. And then, okay, the others didn't raise their hand, TM Godwin. TM Elizabeth, did you get that? And TM Henrietta. And sorry, and Henrietta. Elizabeth and Henrietta, did you get that?
Yes, I did.
All
yes,
right.
please. Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. So our next meeting will be on the 12th of March, next month. That is going to be an on-site meeting at our venue. So in the absence of...
I already sent my number to the chat. So.
All right. Okay, I've seen that. I'll take down the details later. So we'll be moving the motion to adjourn the meeting to the second week of March, precisely on the 12th of March, 2022.
It was Pastor Lumede. hereby move an adjournment of today's meeting to the 12th of March, 2022.
And to be seconded by
I, Toastmaster Isaac Obuadaigbe, hereby second the motion moved by Toastmaster Olumide Ajibade.
All right, thank you so very much. So this brings to a close today's meeting. So the meeting is so adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye-bye.